Hey guys, Frankie here. So, what do you do when you're running ads for a client and they just stop fucking working after a while? And this question came from Ken, but it's happened to me. It's happened to a lot of people a lot of times where you're running stuff for a client, they work for a long period of time. Especially in his case, he's running Google ads, and then suddenly the shit stops working, and then you're left to going, what the hell happened? So I'm here to, hopefully this video will help you guys understand why that happens, and more importantly, what to do about it, because you can't always cover exactly all the trillion variables in the whys, but what you can do is do something about it, and that's the much more important thing. So for those of you guys who don't know me already, by the way, my name is Frankie Finn. I wrote this fancy book here called Beyond the Agency Box. And since 2007, I've built 3 of my own agencies up to 100 plus clients. And I've also helped thousands of people worldwide to live the whole agency beach laptop lifestyle. So here's example landing page. I'm not going to show too much because I'm obviously trying to protect Ken's sensitive information and all that stuff. But in this case, they're a cabinet maker. This is translated because it's not in English. But what ends up happening is this page stopped working. So firstly, let's talk about like why that actually happens. There's a couple of reasons. There's probably more reasons than this. But when your ads aren't working, one of the reasons I've seen ads stop working is competitors copy you, right? Like they basically, I see this in the lawyer space, for example. I was with a lawyer who'd been practicing 40 years, and he said the best performing ad I ever wrote was a full page yellow page ad that I ran before everyone else, and it said experienced lawyer and had our picture and our phone number. Now, of course, in the 40 years that have followed, there's only about 12,000 lawyers per market that all shout that they're experienced lawyers. When he was the first one saying it, he crushed it. But when there's 12,000 people copying, it doesn't work so well. So there's one reason why your ads may have just suddenly dried up is I've experienced this a few times in the lawyer space where like people just rip my shit off word for word, and suddenly my shit don't work as well. Another thing is you may have reached the point of market saturation, especially if you're in like a smaller city or you got a smaller market. Is once people have seen your shit 20, 30, 40 times, like there's just only so much room to go with it. And then this one is just a fact of existence, is that offers eventually dry up. Always, 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 always. So the key is with all of this is understanding what to do about it. And that is come up with a new and sexy offer. So I've seen this in this particular space. It's not necessarily like a niche I know the best, but I've seen, like, for example, in my home area, there's guys who advertise for $29.99, get a brand new remodeled kitchen. And I assume there's some restrictions and there's all kinds of things, like it can only be a certain size and we only have one kind of thing, but it's an offer, and it's a powerful offer, especially for someone to know their price. Now, I know it's normal in this niche to say, we'll quote you everything. I'll tell you my experience, being cheaper than everyone else is not the offer you generally want to go with, because you're going to find that it's a race to the bottom. Someone else will be cheaper than you, and then eventually there's no margin for any of you. So I would focus on like, how can you actually bring value? And so there's a couple of different ways that you can bring value. Okay. So like part of this is understanding like what is the actual the spectrum of value. So one of those is like the time aspect. Can you do it faster? Maybe you can, maybe you don't. I'm just throwing some ideas out there. But like one of the ways, like for example, I've seen a whole market tilt. There was a friend of mine who was helping a real estate attorney. Now, real estate attorneys get all their business from mortgage brokers and like real estate agents, right? Like they and what ends up happening is, like everything, it's competitive. They all sound the same. And he talked to him, and what he found is that most of them hated working with real estate attorneys because when they would close the deal, they would take forever to send the commission check. And they were like, what the fuck is this, right? So this is what they decided to do as a solution, is they came up with we'll mail you your commission check in 24 hours or less, and we'll FedEx it so it gets there overnight. In other words, you'll get paid within 48 hours of closing your deal, no waiting months. And they found they got tons and tons and tons of business by simply being faster. So is there a way that you can do this faster, right? Like that could be a potential thing as well. The other thing is like, how can you make this easier on people? Now, it really, there's only the only limit on this is your creativity. If you wanted to, I mean, you could send them to a fancy restaurant, right? Like, there's nothing that says we order you food and take care of your meals while we're fixing up your kitchen, right? Like, or whatever it is, send them to a fancy restaurant. How can you make this whole process easier on them? Like, there's no limits in all of this. So I'm just kind of spitballing a little bit here, but these are some of my go-to questions, right? Another question I like to ask is like, how can I do it with less mistakes, right? Like, I don't know this niche, but like, do people normally screw this up? Is there a lot of back and forth? Like, how can you make this process have less mistakes? And I'll tell you another way I look at easy way to kind of like, how can we innovate and create like an offer is simply like, how can we make it fucking better than what everyone else is doing? And that one has a shit ton of opportunity. And by the way, being better is not always about like we make better cabinets. It's not always the linear thing that you actually offer and deliver. Sometimes it's like you can be better by, hey, we include a $50 Starbucks gift card for, because we respect your time. Like that makes the offer better, right? Like, say, for example, the normal process is they walk into a showroom, they look at 47 cabinets, and they might spend an hour there. You can make your offer better saying, hey, we'll give you a gift card for something just for coming out and checking them out, right? Like that alone makes your offer better. So it's not always like, how can we make better cabinets and make an actual better thing? But I'm actually thinking about how can we make a better client experience? That's the thing I'm looking for, right? So yes, obviously if you can make better cabinets, make better cabinets, but maybe they got fancier wood, or they last longer, or they got a better guarantee. There's lots of linear ways you can do that with cabinets. But like I said, how can you make the client experience better? Like I said, like I mentioned, we can have a gift card, or maybe you throw in dinner for two, or maybe we'll get you a babysitter. I'm just spitballing here, but just throwing these out. But these are kind of my go-to things is when you get stuck is firstly the time component, the easier component. How can you do this with less mistakes, and how can you create a better client experience? And sometimes just one little innovation in one of those things will make your whole offer better. And so sit down with a little bit, play with it, and what you'll find is almost inevitably, but I'll tell you just from having done this in other markets that or seeing this work in another market, is the set price for a brand new kitchen and like having one set deliverable, meaning like everybody gets the same cabinets for this introductory offer. What you'll find is a lot of times people will inquire about the $3,000 kitchen and then find out, oh, I want something different. And then you say, hey, let me come up with a custom quote, which is what you would do anyway, but you wouldn't even be having the conversation if there wasn't that introductory offer to get them started. So just throwing some stuff out there that I think will help you. But at the end of the day, is you're going to have to come up with a new and sexy offer. That's the game, and help your client, convert that if your stuff is dried up. So hope that's helpful to you guys. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And that's all I got for you guys. May the force be with you.